What's up, guys? It's me, Nightwolf. How are my comrades doing? I'm sorry if I'm a bit out of it right now, but anyway, I decided that I'm going to do a quick, very short review for the very first Indiegogo funded comic book that I purchased. It is called Strange Love, I Want to Be Chrome, and the story and art is done by Brenden Swan. Now, when I first saw this book, it was, I believe Professor Geek was the one who kind of tipped me off to this book. I saw this very, very lovely cover, and I was all like, this reminds me of, like, roughly, like, 80s manga and anime style artwork. A lot of it does. And it's really good. And we're going to go over the art. We're going to go over the story. I'll start with the cover. The cover is probably my favorite part of this entire book. The one thing that is a little weird, if you look really closely, the way that this is colored, I'm guessing that this was colored with colored pencil. Which, I can't confirm that, okay? I have no way of confirming that, unless the creator tells me otherwise. I'm assuming colored pencil, which is odd, and not something you see in a lot of comic books. Although I will say that it gives a very distinct look, and it does kind of make it look kind of retro in a way, I guess. But I don't think very many comic books ever used colored pencils for coloring. I could be mistaken. But anyway, that's what I kind of noticed. It's kind of interesting to see this. Now, what is the story of Strange Love? Well, it's a story about a struggling musician who is trying to find his muse. What was his name again? His name is Robin. Okay, I kind of forgot his name. His name is Robin, and he's looking for a muse. He's trying to find a woman who can help spark his musical creativity, as it were. And, well, for the most part, eventually he does discover his muse, but it's in the form of a robot. A robot that is supposed to find its purpose by becoming more human, I guess, is the answer. There she is. This is a really good picture. I like this one. The one thing I will say about the story, it's not bad. As far as I'm aware, for this creator, this is his first comic. I don't know if he's had any others prior to this, but it's not a bad story. I like the whole story of, can a man find love with a machine, especially a machine that might be a murderous monster type creature. I like the concept and the idea, but it's really kind of skimmed across, if I'm being fair. It's not that it's not talked about, because it is. It's just that I think that this story would have warranted more pages to kind of help expand on it, but due to it being a crowdfunding book and probably not being able to expand the story anymore, it's kind of very brief and doesn't really build a whole lot on it. At least that's how I view it. I don't want to hurt the creator's feelings or anything. I'm just giving my honest take on it. I'm not saying it's bad. As a matter of fact, I think that this is a good kind of, what would be the appropriate word? A good starting point. If he decided to maybe redo the story again at some point, when maybe he has a stronger following and whatnot, and actually expand on the story, or maybe make a sequel, he could do that too. The building block of a really, really strong, really solid story is here. It's just not as good as some of the other ones I've seen. The only part of it that's not really different, but something that I haven't seen in a while, is the whole slant of it being a murderous, intentioned machine. I remembered reading Chobits, well, not reading Chobits, but watching Chobits, the anime, and that does talk about, can a man love a machine that looks like a girl, which that was covered a lot. But in that story, it was like a lot of philosophical discussion. This one, it kind of goes over it in a very short, very Cliff Note version. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that I was kind of hoping for a bit more depth and a bit more dialogue, because the dialogue's kind of sparse to an extent, but like I said, it's not bad. And I think for the most part, that's all I want to say about the story. I don't really want to spoil it, even though, for the most part, the campaign has long since ended and people will probably not have an opportunity to check it out again. But for the most part, we'll get to that page in a second. But for the most part, I think it was a really good story. It was fun for the time that I read it. Who knows, maybe I'll read it again and find something new about it. But for the most part, it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. Now, art on the book is also not bad. As I said, considering that this might be the person's first foray into comics, he may not be as experienced, or he may have felt rushed, because there are several instances in the book where some of the art feels a bit rushed. This page in particular caught my attention. This is not how a face should look on a figure in this particular situation. It's it's a very I'll give you a nice good close up. It's a very glaring error. He may have been rushed. That's what I'm going to go with. He was probably rushed to finish the project, so he got it out on time. And if that's the case, I understand. But this is also why I would recommend, if you're ever going to make an Indiegogo comic or a Kickstarter comic, and you're going to crowdfund it, I recommend having all of the story and the comic book pages at least about 80% finished before you announce it. That's just my take on it. But as someone who is also an amateur artist, I'm just saying that this could have been avoided with a bit more time. At least I believe so. Not all of the pages are bad. For the most part, the pages are pretty decent. It's just that it's very clear that this person is not... It needs some work. A little bit of work. Not too much, just a little. Because for the most part, the art, does its job very well. You see, this is the thing where you're trying to have the character be kind of creepy, but she just kind of looks kind of derpy. I can't really see her as intimidating in that factor. The art isn't the worst thing, but there are certain points where it looks like the artist was either rushed or didn't finish it properly. And believe you me, I understand that completely, considering that I've done it myself. I'm pointing that out because I've done things like this. You see this, where the head does not look exactly right and actually looks kind of like an egg when it shouldn't? I've done this before. Many times. Either because I was rushed or because I don't understand how to do that particular part of the perspective of, angling the face. I'm just pointing that out, that it's a kind of a concern. And I do hope that this creator does another book, because I actually enjoy this book. It just has some flaws that could be improved upon. That's pretty much my only gripe and complaint. It's pretty good. It was fun. I can't remember how much this book was. I think it was $10. I think. I'm not positive, but I think it was $10, which is a pretty good, for the amount of pages that you get. It's not bad. That's pretty decent amount of bang for your buck. And it came out, as far as I know, on time. So hey, that's also good. My final rating for Strangelove, I Want to Be Chrome, is 3 out of 5 stars, basically. If I had a normal rating system, that's what it would be. I would basically say 3 out of 5. Good, but not the best that it could have been. I still like the art, and I like the style of the art especially. Once this person has more experience under their belt, if they were able to manage to make every single page look more like this cover, which is clearly what they spent the most time on, that would be fantastic, because this cover is good. This cover is really good. If they were to have spent more time interior with almost the same amount of effort and detail, this would have been a 5 out of 5 book, to be quite honest with you. But I hope they do another one, because I would really like that, because I like this art style and I want to see it more. So, with that being said, of course, as always, do not forget to leave me a like, shoot me a comment, subscribe if you're new here. I'd greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I hope to do more Indiegogo based comic book reviews in the future once my other books come in. So, like I said, I'll see you guys next time. Nightwolf is out.